Hello everyone. So, bro, I'm gonna be watching this. I've been wanting to watch this for quite a long time, but the thing is, I have a fear of war and nuclear war because we've been in a crosshair for a very long time. How close we come to nuclear by Veritasium. By reference, I'm from Iran. I live in Iran, so do, yeah, we are one of the countries that might get nuked at some point in the future. So is Russia. So is USA. Holy shit! It's crazy that listen when the bullshit happened between Iran and Israel when we send missiles. It was crazy reading about drones and missiles in Reddit live as they were like moving around. Like it was terrifying at the same time. So I'm actually so worried that at some point I'm gonna be on Reddit like checking out some build for Dang Hang or something, and then I see a news of nukes being fired toward Iran, and then I have to wait like 8 minutes. But how long is it gonna take for like? To be fair, even if we get nuked, there's plenty of land. Hopefully, it's gonna land in the desert. No, we're gonna get fucked. Everyone's gonna get fucked. It's the problem is here. It's like every country is so close to each other. If you nuke someone, every other country around is gonna get involved because they're gonna get air into them too, and material and fucking rain. Oh my god. Is the future nukes? Please no. Please let's just abandon all nukes. Put them on the moon. All the nukes. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Ever since the invention of nuclear weapons, humanity has almost accidentally destroyed itself many times over.
Holy shit.
This is a video about just some of those times. It's about nuclear bombs and missiles accidentally detonating. It's about hydrogen bombs being lost. And it's about false alarms that could have led to the end of the world.
Ooh, I remember.
On the 17th of January 1966, a B-52 bomber was flying over the coast of Spain.
Is this the one that
It was carrying 4 hydrogen bombs, each one 75 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
What
This sounds crazy, but in the mid-1960s, during the height of the Cold War, this was routine. This was part of a military operation known as Chrome Dome, where bombers flew around the United States and skirted the borders of the Soviet Union with hydrogen bombs on board. The thinking was that if the USSR initiated a first strike, the US could rapidly retaliate by having bombers already up in the air and closer to their targets. The flight took off from North Carolina and crossed the Atlantic Ocean
from the very
with the plan to fly by the border of the Soviet Union and return home. The plane would be in the air for more than 24 hours. The flight was so long it required 2 mid-air refuelings.
How the fuck did they just...
But long flights and mid-air refuelings were commonplace. Flights like this happened every day.
Gallon per hour.
The first refueling went smoothly. After flying by the Soviet Union and turning around, the plane needed to be refueled again. So at 10:30 a.m. over the coast of Spain, above the small fishing village of Palomares, the refueling tanker pulled up in front of the B-52. Larry Messinger, the pilot of the bomber, recalled,
"We came up behind the tanker and we were going a little bit too fast."
Oh shit!
There's a procedure they have where the boom operator, if you get in a dangerous position, he calls breakaway, breakaway, breakaway. And you immediately cut the throttles and drop down below. Well,
all right.
There was no such call.
Oh shit.
We were dropping down below the tanker, and all of a sudden, something happened. There was an explosion of some kind.
The 2 planes collided. The boom arm, which held the refueling nozzle, hit the B-52, breaking off its left wing. The resulting explosion was big enough that it was witnessed by another B-52, which was flying 1.5 kilometers away.
Holy
All
shit!
4 men on the refueling tanker and 3 of the 7 on the B-52
Okay, were these pilots weren't on the planes like 24 hours a day, were they? Seriously, because that's probably what caused some problems. Oh, I don't know, hallucination, hearing and seeing problems? Jesus Christ, in a plane for 24 hours plus?
All 4 men on the refueling tanker and 3 of the 7 on the B-52 were killed in the accident.
Oh
the 4 bombs fell to Earth. Each one of them had a yield of 1.1 megatons of TNT, about 75 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. A hydrogen bomb gets most of its power from the fusion of tritium and deuterium, which are isotopes of hydrogen with extra neutrons. When these isotopes fuse into helium, a little bit of mass is lost, which is released as energy. But it takes a tremendous amount of energy to get that reaction started, which is why a hydrogen bomb is actually 3 bombs in one. A conventional bomb, which when detonated triggers the plutonium fission bomb, which then creates high enough temperatures and pressures and releases enough energetic X-rays to trigger the fusion reaction. The conventional explosives in 2 of the 4 bombs detonated on impact. Fortunately, to trigger the fission reaction, the explosion needs to be symmetrical. But since the conventional explosives detonated on impact with the ground, the shockwave wasn't symmetrical, and so the fission and fusion bombs weren't set off.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, the conventional explosive blew up the plutonium core, contaminating a 2.6 square kilometer area of the Spanish coastline with radioactive material. The area is still contaminated.
Wait, how much?
A 2.6 square kilometer area of the Spanish coastline with radioactive material.
But that's at least containable.
The area is still contaminated with radioactive atoms to this day.
But after the crash, the villagers were told to eat no locally produced food, and there was an embargo on it in nearby markets.
The 3rd bomb was found intact in a nearby riverbed. But the 4th bomb was missing.
Somewhere out there off the sunny coast of southern Spain, an H-bomb is missing. It's been missing now for over 3 weeks.
Mr. Ambassador, how was your swim this morning? Did you by any chance stub your toe on the bomb while you were out there today?
Wish I had.
29 US Army ships were involved in the search, and it still took 81 days for the bomb to finally be located and recovered. I want to say this again. There was a hydrogen bomb that was 75 times more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima, and it was missing for nearly 3 months. This is not an isolated incident. It's common enough that the US military has a term for accidents involving nuclear weapons.
The D-Day clock thus begun ticking with a potential broken arrow message from Nellis Air Force Base.
They call them broken arrows. The Pentagon officially lists 32 such accidents between 1950 and 1980. 5 of them occurred during Operation Chrome Dome, cases when a B-52 carrying hydrogen bombs crashed. In 1961, the first year of Operation Chrome Dome, a B-52 had a fuel leak, and it crashed over North Carolina. 3 members of the crew died in the accident. It was carrying 2 4-megaton bombs.
So 5 survived.
Both bombs fell to Earth. One had its parachute deploy, and it landed on the ground mostly intact.
Alright.
The other slammed into a field and broke into pieces. The good news is that the conventional explosives did not explode, so radioactive plutonium was not strewn all over North Carolina. The bad news is that the conventional explosives didn't explode, and so there was a chance that the hydrogen bombs could be armed and ready to detonate with full force. Recalling the incident 52 years later, Lieutenant Jack Revell, who was responsible for the safe disposal of the bombs, said,
"And as we started digging down, trying to find the second bomb, one of my sergeants says, 'Hey, Lieutenant, I found the arm safe switch.' And I said, 'Great.' He says, 'Nah, not great. It's on arm.'"
At the time, a spokesman for the Department of Defense said that the bombs were unarmed and could not have accidentally exploded. But in a report declassified in 2013, it was stated that the bomb was armed. Report declassified in 2013.
Bro, 2013, they didn't have access to this shit. So it would be a conspiracy for them if they would assume this, but now it's the fact, isn't it?
It was stated that the bomb was armed.
That's fucking absurd. Why is this information like given to them like directly?
Report declassified in 2013, it was stated that the bomb was armed. A single switch could have triggered the detonation. By the way, the bomb is still there, lodged about 50 meters under the field. After the bomb fell on the field, there was a flash flood, which meant that it couldn't be recovered. So to make sure that no one could dig up the bomb, the US military placed a 120-meter diameter slab of concrete over the whole area. According to the Pentagon report, there is no detectable radiation and no hazard in the area, but a portion of one weapon containing uranium is missing. There are dozens more events like this, like the plane crash over Greenland in 1968.
Maybe we
the
can
4
use it
hydrogen
as
bombs it was carrying burned up in the fire.
leftover
The decontamination of the
fuel
surrounding
or
area
something.
took 4 months. That same year, the Soviet
That's better than
K-129 submarine
nothing.
sank.
That's like 4 months of recovery is better than like just existing with concrete underneath it, and we hope that nothing happens.
That same year, the Soviet K-129 submarine sank in the Pacific Ocean, killing all 98 of its crew.
Fuck!
It was also carrying 3 nuclear warheads. Part of the submarine was covertly recovered by the CIA. Another standout incident occurred in 1965, about 100 kilometers off the coast of Japan. A Douglas A-4 jet carrying at least 1 hydrogen bomb fell off the aircraft carrier during a training exercise.
Why are
The
you putting
plane, the
fucking
bomb, and the pilot
bombs on
were
jets?
never recovered. So for more than half a century, there has been a 1 megaton hydrogen bomb lying on the sea floor, 4 kilometers below the surface of the ocean. It is one of
That's
at
a big
least
jet.
6 US nuclear weapons that have been lost and never recovered. In 90 US nuclear weapons that have been It is one of at least 6 US nuclear weapons that have been lost.
So US lost 6 nuclear weapons that we know of. And we can have 1 nuke? 1. Jesus Christ. How can North Korea have 1?
And never recovered.
I'm
In
kidding.
1998, Alexander Lebed, Russia's former
Fuck
chief of
nukes all
national
over to be
security,
fucking honest.
asserted that there are more than 100 1-kiloton nuclear bombs that are unaccounted for.
But
The most
fucking
well-known
ban
Broken
them
Arrow
then.
event happened
Find
in
them.
September 1980.
What if it's in the
Inside-
What if it's in the oceans all over the world and we get like tsunami out of existence out of nowhere? What the fuck? We can't just hope for a better future. We need to do.
At a silo in rural
Why
Arkansas,
are they collecting
a team
plastic?
was
Someone
conducting
find these
routine
nukes.
checks on the Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile. Inside a silo in rural Arkansas, a team was conducting routine checks on the Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile. The missile was fueled, ready to launch at a moment's notice. In its nose cone sat a 9 megaton hydrogen bomb. As one of the repairmen was walking around the silo, the socket from his ratchet wrench fell off.
Oh my
It fell
god!
24 meters, hitting the fuel tank of the missile and puncturing a hole. The highly flammable rocket fuel began to leak into the silo.
What kind of bitch ass tank is that with the fucking, what do you call it? Flex wrench screw? What do you call it? Socket? How the fuck is it that tank's getting punctured by that piece of metal? That's impossible. What kind of tank is that? Tanks that go with fuel usually can resist bullets and shit, man. At least like soft rounds.
The missile complex and surrounding area were evacuated, but a number of military personnel remained on site to try to defuse the situation.
The maintenance team had an indication of an engine fire and a rise in vapor concentration inside the silo.
At 3 a.m., about 8.5 hours after the puncture of the fuel tank, the leaking fuel vapors ignited, resulting in an explosion. This explosion led to 1 death and 21 injuries. The 740-ton door keeping the silo sealed flew more than 60 meters into the air. It was recovered 200 meters away. The warhead containing the hydrogen bomb was also blown out of the silo, landing some 30 meters away. Luckily, it did not detonate. And these are just the near misses that we know about. Of the 32 broken
Okay, listen. I use these wrenches. These lock in. Those things don't come off that easily. unless it's been like used for like 24 years or something, and the spring is fucked. These wrenches hold the pieces. How the fuck is this wrench got fucked? Someone did something else. These wrenches use, maybe it's not even that wrench. Maybe it's just someone else explaining something. But again, these wrenches don't just give out their like pieces that easily. Unless you just do this or press the button that just unlocks it, you know?
Arrow events listed by the Pentagon, one which occurred in the spring of 1968, remains classified. There are likely many dozens more nuclear mistakes and near misses the public knows nothing about from every nation that has a nuclear.
Wait, why is China so little? The fuck are you doing, China? To be fair, China is making other progresses that we don't even see sometimes.
Nuclear arsenal. The worry of a nuclear mishap is not just the immediate damage done by a hydrogen bomb explosion. It's also the misunderstanding and retaliatory strikes that could arise. Imagine that in 1966, instead of hydrogen bombs falling off the coast of Spain, the plane crash occurred closer to the border with the Soviet Union.
Oh
Humanity
my God, right
has
there,
been on the
there.
brink of nuclear war many times, and so far, we've been lucky. The closest we've likely ever come was in October 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
We've been unlucky to even existed in this timeline. What the fuck are you talking about?
The US Navy began dropping signaling charges into the water to bring a Soviet submarine to the surface. But tensions were high and the submarine had not been in radio contact with Moscow for days. The captain of the submarine decided that war had broken out and he was about to launch a nuclear torpedo. But the launch required the authorization of 3 men. 2 out of the 3 authorized the launch, but Vasily Arkhipov did not. A full-blown nuclear exchange between the United States and the Soviet Union was avoided by the rational decision of one person.
Oh my God, yes, I seen this guy
the historian
on Reddit.
Arthur Schlesinger Jr. later noted that this was not only the most dangerous moment of the Cold War, it was the most dangerous moment in human history.
And the most rational decision.
And during the Cuban Missile
by
Crisis,
that
with
person.
the tensions between the US and USSR at an all-time high, both countries still conducted high-altitude nuclear tests. The US set off a 410 kiloton bomb 50 kilometers above the Pacific Ocean, and a smaller 7 kiloton bomb at an altitude of 147 kilometers. 2 of the 300 kiloton tests conducted by the Soviets occurred in space. It's pretty hard to justify these actions. What if one of these tests was thought to be a nuclear first strike, leading to all-out war? Because false alarms happen for something a lot more innocuous than nuclear tests in space. On the 26th of September 1983, the Soviet satellite-based early warning system detected the launch of an intercontinental ballistic missile. And their policy dictated that if any inbound missiles were detected, there was to be an immediate counterattack against the United States. This would have likely led to all-out war, but the Soviet officer on duty at the time of the detection, Stanislav Petrov, was skeptical of the reading. He reasoned that if there was a genuine first strike, the US would launch hundreds of ICBMs simultaneously, not just one. The detection system then warned Petrov of another 4 missiles headed towards the USSR. But these 2 he dismissed as a glitch. Petrov was right. He made the right decision, and his clear thinking likely saved millions of lives. The warning system malfunctioned. It confused sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds.
His way of thinking probably was like some Sherlock Holmes thing, just thinking so fucking accurately at that moment, and it's being so on. To be honest, he was right, and we're all alive because of it.
Ballistic missiles.
So
After this
many of us
incident,
might have
Petrov
not
took
existed.
an early retirement and later suffered a nervous breakdown. Another close call happened on January 25th, 1995, when scientists launched a rocket off the coast of Norway. The rocket was there to study the northern lights, but Russian radar picked up this launch as it had a similar flight pattern and speed as the submarine-launched Trident ICBM. The incident was serious enough that a briefcase containing the nuclear launch codes was taken to the Russian president, Boris Yeltsin. I think most people believe the biggest threat posed by nuclear weapons is their deliberate
That's
use.
so fucking
There's
metal,
this
bro.
idea that as
Have
long
a
as nations only
briefcase,
have
this
them
is-
and don't
has
use
some
them,
sort of
they could
security
act
that's
as a deterrent,
absurdly good.
keeping us safer. But all of these incidents demonstrate
person,
the
like,
real risk of nuclear weapons is some freak accident. So far, humanity has been lucky, but how long until our luck runs out? But there is hope.
A bit.
In 1986, there were more than 70,000 nuclear weapons. In 2022, that number had dropped to 12,705.
Oh, fuck yes.
And more are being dismantled.
Please.
But as long as there are any nuclear weapons remaining, the future of humanity...
Okay, no, we can have 10. We can have 10 that we store in United Nations, and we use those 10 in an emergency. Maybe like, I don't know, an asteroid was coming toward Earth. Let's not just go full drastic with everything. Let's keep 10 nukes. I don't hold them on the moon, surface of the moon. Hold them in space. I mean, that's very dangerous. But hold them maybe in United Nations underneath the basement or something, somewhere safe, and not just like crazy nukes. Some like missile nukes that are not gonna be destructive are gonna just be destructive in space. Maybe, I don't know, something, because nukes are too powerful. They might come in handy later. Bro, we are like at 2024. We don't know what's 2021. What do you call it? 2000 and I can't even say it because I haven't lived through those years. 21,000, right? Yeah, 2100. We don't know what the year 2100 is gonna be like. Like 2100, right? We don't know anything about the future. But again, dismantling majority of the bombs would work. Maybe keep one.
Is not safe.
Is there a way we can find out?
Hey, this part of the
how
video
many
is brought
exist
to you
and how
by
many-
Henson Shaving.
Yo.
Close shaves are bad when it comes to
Bro,
nuclear
that's
weapons, but
disrespectful.
they're great when it comes to shaving.
Don't worry.
Henson is a company that was started by aerospace machinists who wanted to use their experience in precision manufacturing to create a better shaving experience.
Jesus, bro! If I shave with that, I'm gonna cut my face off. These beers need proper stuff before shaving with. I mean, to be fair, I never do a razor blade. I use a machine, but again, Jesus. But I see
And
these
honestly,
clean you up
I think
perfectly,
they've
though.
succeeded.
That's so
I've been
good.
using their AL13 for the past few months, and
Oh
it's the
my.
best shave I've ever had. The razor is made
shaving
using
cream is
CNC
perfect.
machines with incredibly tight tolerances, so the blade sticks out just 0.03
Oh yeah,
millimeters.
he shaved just
This
exactly
means that the
that
blade is
much.
perfectly supported,
Alright, that's
which
perfect,
reduces
actually.
chatter, the up and down movement of the
fuck?
blade. This reduction in chatter reduces skin irritation. In fact, Henson conducted a test where participants shaved the left part of their face with a multi-blade razor and the right part with the AL13, and they saw a statistically significant reduction in skin irritation when the Henson razor was used.
Yo, how the fuck do you check out a skin irritation with a phone? And why is it showing like the heat signatures of his ears?
The AL13
Why is the eyes not
is
hot?
really high quality, and it uses standard double-edged blades which are much less expensive than the proprietary blades sold by other companies. So once
Oh
you
my
own
God,
a
I would
Henson
love to
razor, the
fucking
cost
use
of
this.
shaving works out to be just $3 to $5 per year, depending on how often you shave. And because you're not throwing away all that plastic, it's also much better for the environment.
I just paid
so
the
if you'd
electricity
like to
bill for
have
the
a
machine
better
I
shaving
use.
experience while
Bro,
saving
you need two machines. One that is like bzzz, and one that has like wheels inside of it. Those for like cleaning the aftermath. To be fair, I use it like sometimes when I have to fix underneath my beard. But again, it's very convenient. This is more traditional, using the what do you call it? What do you call it? I don't know. I don't use the English stuff. Razor all-3N element. Okay, that's just French. But yeah, these razors. These are more traditional and it cleans up fairly well. But if you have pimples and shit, this is gonna be fucking
saving money and helping the environment, head on over to hensonshaving.com and enter code Veritasium for 100 free blades with the purchase of a razor. I want to thank Henson for sponsoring this part of the video, and I want to thank you for watching.
That's a good deal. To be fair, this is probably not even live anymore. But again, the video was very, very, very informative. Listen, I'm happy that humanity is going toward just reducing nukes. That's fucking awesome. We need to just move forward to, it's been too long fighting amongst each other. We need to just get the fuck out of here. Like conquer the fucking solar system. What are we doing here? It's like, Jesus Christ. Let's get out. Let's enjoy the fucking universe. There's so much we don't know, and we're fighting against something that we already know and seen all of it. I mean, to be fair, Earth is very beautiful and there's so much we don't know. I'm just talking about the lands we know. Like, we're fighting among the lands that we've seen and checked out. And we know all of it. There are other people that are already checking it out. Why the fuck do we want to be there? There's shit over everywhere. Like, colonialism can be so good. Imperialism can be so good. Capitalism can be so good. Socialism can be so good. But we can just fuck around in the space with that shit. Why are we just trying to ruin Earth more? This is the only place we got right now. Be careful. But please, we need to be careful. That's it. See you all later. Where am I talking?